Perlite transformation. That means the austenite will decompose into ferrite and cementite. And cementite is a precipitate, obviously, because it is a carbide. The precipitate means maybe carbide, maybe nitrate, maybe carbonitrate, or it may be an intermetallic phase. Like intermetallic phase, if you remember Ni3A, like Al2Cu, NiAl also, aluminium lithium, AlLi. Okay, anyway, so this first content which I have written on this book is difference between precipitation and eutectoid reaction. You can see the difference. You will get the answer. What is the difference? Sometimes people ask, like, in general, how you can define a eutectoid reaction. So what you can say? For any system, how you can define a eutectoid reaction. I have written in the bottom part, just check it. First of all, it is a solid state reaction. Everything will be solid. Parent will be in solid, product will be in solid. Right? It is a solid state transformation reaction. Right? So one solid will decompose into two different solids. Right? And both have different crystal structure. If you remember, crystal structure this is FCC. Sorry, this is orthogonal, this is FCC, right? And composition is also different. But you can see the precipitation. What is happening? See the product and parent. Okay, what is it? SSSS? Super saturated solid solution. Right? This alpha is actually a super saturated solid solution. Why? Because you remember, all the precipitate will get soluble when you take the aluminum copper to a single phase region. If you remember the aluminum copper system. And you remember aluminum copper system? Just check the diagram so you can understand. Right? And the most important point is solubility decreases when we go down, solubility increases when we go up in the temperature range. Right? That means more amount of solid can be accommodated if you take the alloy to a high temperature. If you go to room temperature, then solubility limit will go down and some solid will come out. Obviously. And that will form precipitate, which is happening here. So your excess solid is present. Super saturated means lot of solid are present. Right? Which is not possible actually. So some solid will come out and will form theta. Theta is a precipitate, or that is what I have written, second phase. Second phase particle. Precipitate is a second phase particle. And this is a primary phase, matrix. Right? So you can see matrix and the parent phase are same. But can you differentiate what is the difference between them? Crystal structure is same. Alpha is FCC, this is also FCC. But what is the difference?
So you have to dissolved precipitate.
Both are S1, same solid. What is the difference? Composition. This is super saturated, but this is not super saturated. Some solid will come out and become theta. You understand the point? Anyway, so this is the difference you understood, right? And also we have talked about why intermediate phases form. You understood now? Why directly precipitate is not coming out? Why theta is not coming out directly from alpha supersaturated? You understood? GP zone, then theta double prime, theta prime, and theta. You understood the result now? The energy barrier, means the energy barrier. And this energy barrier is due to different in the crystal structure, basically. The crystal structure is orthogonal, this one is SSC. Okay, we will not discuss much about this. Now, alpha gamma become alpha plus FeBC. So this is for equilibrium phase. We know that ferrite is always equilibrium phase because if you check the iron carbon diagram, ferrite is always there. So it is an equilibrium phase, right? Equilibrium phase means it is a stable phase. In other way, in the earlier starting classes, I told you the difference between stable phase, metastable phase, and unstable phase. Remember those things? Right? Anybody remember what is the difference between unstable phase and metastable phase? From the back side, I want that. Okay, you want to speak? Speak louder. You people are from DSSUT, so you should be more confident. So, you're talking about center of gravity part. Okay. Anyways, stable phase 3. Metastable phase means the phase which can remain for long interval of time. It will not decompose into stable phase unless until you provide an activation energy, then on. But if a phase is unstable, it will never remain. It will suddenly become stable phase or metastable phase. Right? You understand my point? Okay, so this is, and what is this? This is a which phase? Stable, unstable, metastable. Metastable, very good. You remember. People ask what? This is a metastable or stable? That means suppose in your steel you have perlite, ferrite plus cementite. So that will decompose after many hours, or it will remain like that if you are not giving any energy. It will remain like that only. You make a perlitic steel, that perlite will remain forever sometimes. But if you heat it to certain temperature, suppose 200, 300, 400 degrees centigrade for many hours, what will happen? This will start decomposing into what? Or iron plus carbon. Simple. Carbon will come out. You are heating, right? When you heat, what happens? Diffusion starts. Carbon will come out from Fe3C. Actually, Fe3C will, the bond between iron and carbon will break down first. Then carbon will come out. So it will become graphite. This is graphite, and it is pure iron, or it is alpha. Ferrite is also a pure iron, you can say. Very less amount of carbon is present, right? You understand my point? So this is the metastable phase. If you heat it, if you heat the steel, it will come out, and it will decompose into a stable phase. This is stable. This is also a stable phase. Similarly, this is also a stable phase. This is an equilibrium phase. This is an equilibrium phase, right? Okay. To explain that, I have shown you the video of my trolley bag. You see that? Different, right? When it is in vertical position, when it is in horizontal, when it is in tilted position. Right? So when it is in tilted position, that position is mainly metastable. Metastable. Are you sure?
No, sir. Unstable. Unstable.
That's why if trolley bag is like this, either it will go here or it will go down like completely. Right? Because center of gravity is close to the ground in this condition, and center of gravity is somewhat higher. But if it is in this condition, center of gravity is more higher. You see that, right? If you remember. Okay, next is you can write a question. This is an assignment. What is perlitic colonies? What is perlitic colonies? You put the date. What is perlitic colonies? And how perlitic colonies influence the property, mechanical property of the steel? How perlitic colony influence the mechanical property of steel? In the previous lecture, I talked about the interlamellar spacing. You remember, right? What happens if interlamellar spacing is less? What happens if interlamellar spacing is more? But now, what is perlitic colony and how perlitic colony size? So you can write how perlitic colony size affects or influences the mechanical properties. I think I have discussed this one in IPM. I remember. Okay, anyways, there's a question, and you have to draw a diagram to show perlitic colony. Draw a diagram to show perlitic colony. Okay, to show perlitic colony, what you need to do? You need to take a eutectoid steel, obviously, because eutectoid steel will give you 100% perlite. We know that. No? 0.8 or 0.7 steel, carbon steel. Okay. This is a very like complicated thing. Just you can write hardenability. hardenability, comma, alloying element. Hardenability and effect of alloying element. Hardenability and effect of alloying element. Next one is you can write perletic transformation. Perletic transformation versus Martin-Selick transformation. See, Perletic transformation and Martin-Selick transformation are similar or completely opposite? From next side I want to Perletic transformation and Martin-Selick transformation are completely similar or completely opposite?
Completely opposite.
Opposite?
Opposite.
Completely opposite. How you can justify that?
Diffusion based perletic.
One is diffusionless, one is diffusion based.
Yes.
Right? Perletic transformation happens by complete diffusion. Everything will diffuse. Iron will diffuse, carbon will diffuse, alloying elements will diffuse. But in Martin-Selick transformation, nobody diffuses. But there is happening something that is what? Coordinate movement of atoms. Atoms will move in a coordinate manner. In one direction, in one same speed, right? And at a time, at the same time. Right? You remember the coordinate movement of atoms. Right? Okay. So that means what I can write? Okay, you can write. Perletic transformation is diffusion based and Martin-Selick is diffusion based. So the point is what? Okay, what is hardenability? Let me discuss. If you remember, what is hardenability? From introduction to physical materials class. Hardenability. The name is saying ability to harden.
Ability.
Just remember this thing. Ability to harden. Harden means the hardness will increase, the strength will increase. Suppose I am saying a steel is having high hardenability. That means the steel have a property to get hardened or get strengthened easily. And you understand how it will get hardened and strengthened easily by forming martensite. Your martensite is the microstructure of phase which gives you maximum hardness value. Right? If you compare the hardness of perlite, ferrite, vanillite and martensite, martensite is having maximum hardness value. Right? You understood up to this? So hardenability means easy to harden. How or ability of steel to get hardened. Simply. But this is not the right definition. This is for the explanation. The right definition means if you want you can write hardenability means susceptibility of a steel to get hardened. Susceptibility means ability. Oh, sorry. Susceptibility of a steel to get hardened by forming what? Martensite? By forming martensite. Susceptibility of steel to get hardened by forming martensite throughout the cross section. The last important point is without drastic quenching or without rapid cooling. Without drastic quenching or without rapid cooling. Just read the statement, you will get the answer. I will steal this. You understood the point? Hardenability means how easily steel can be hardened or strengthened. How? By forming martensite. But that martensite should form everywhere. What I have written, you can see. This is a piece of steel. One part is surface, one part is the core. Core means the center part. Fine? Okay, you take the steel to the oxidizing temperature. So what will happen? Everywhere will have oxide grains. Okay, like this for example. So these are grains. This will be okay. Anything there? No. Fine. You take the steel to the oxidizing temperature, everything become gamma grains. All grains become gamma oxide. Now you do what? You cool it. Right? You cool it in air, for example. Air cooling is not so drastic. If you put it into water, it is a drastic cooling. Or if you put it into oil, it is a drastic cooling kind of. But you cool it in air, right? Okay? So, if I will cool it in air also, what will happen? The surface will cool it very fast, right? But the core will not cool it very fast because it is inside part, no? From inside the heat will come out later, right? But the outer surface will cool very fast because it is accessible to the environment, okay, right? That means cooling rate is same or different now? At the case, at the core? Different, obviously. If cooling rate will be different, then what happens to the microstructure? It will be different?
Yes.
Remember that in heat treatment I told you many times. So if cooling rate will be different, the microstructure term will be also different. So that means at the surface, maximum chance is that martensite will form. But since the cooling rate is slow in the center, then perlite will form. You understood? You understood the point now? Suppose you, okay, anyways, you take a very big section of a steel of piece and you austenize it, then you quench it in water also. Then also you can, maximum chances what? Surface will cool very fast, right? You will get martensite at the case or at the surface, at the center, at the core, you will get perlite, even if you are quenching. You understood the point? Because that will cool at very slow rate. Slow cooling will give you perlite, fast cooling will give you martensite. Right? So can I say this steel is good, having high hardenability? No. You want martensite to form everywhere, throughout the cross section. And the point is last important line, you can check it. The last line is without drastic quenching. Without drastic, even if you are cooling slowly, you should form martensite. The steel should form martensite. That is interesting. Right? So some steel have high hardenability, some steel have low hardenability. Okay, fine. Basically, alloy steels, high carbon steels are having good hardenability, but low carbon steels or plain carbon steels having poor hardenability. If you are doing an ideal for it, if you are dealing with alloy steels or high alloy steels, or you are dealing with high carbon steels or medium carbon steels, they have good hardenability. But if you are dealing with a low carbon steel or plain carbon steel, it is having poor hardenability. Right? That means what I will say, there is a effect of alloying element. Alloying element has some role to play now. Carbon is an alloying element, other alloying elements are all alloying elements. So if alloying element will be there, then even if you are cooling the steel at a slow rate from the oxidizing temperature, it will form martensite. People ask sometimes. See, many people get confused in this. Right? Some people ask like, if you have a alloy steel and you are heating the steel to the oxidizing temperature, then you are cooling in the air. So what may be the product? People will say perlite, maximum chance. Right? They will say fine perlite. But you have to check it. It will form actually, maximum chances that the surface will become martensite because of alloying elements. Right? Because of alloying elements. But if you are dealing with a plain carbon steel, you take it to the oxidizing temperature, you cool in air. So it will form fine perlite, not martensite. Up to this you are getting a point. So that means alloying element help in the formation of martensite. Okay. So how I can justify this? To justify this, what I can do? I have to draw either DDT or CCT. Right? This is temperature, this is log time. What is this?
MS.
This is
MF.
very good. Which diagram is this? This is TTD or CCD? CCD.
No, stated is
Where is Benite? What is the position of Benite? Benite is where there is nose. So below the nose, Benite forms. But the diagram is incomplete. Now how it is? It is CCD. Continuous cooling. CCD diagram. Continuous cooling transformation. We are continuously cooling the steel from the oxidizing temperature. That is, right? So if you cool the steel continuously, Benite formation will not be there basically. Sometimes it happens depending upon the composition. Manganese is present, Benite will form sometimes. There is an exception. If manganese is there, if large amount of manganese will be there, Benite formation will be easy. So if you cool continuously also, you can form Benite. But that is an exception. But in regular case, never form. So what it is showing? It is showing perlite region and martensitic region only, right? Because Benite region is here, but this diagram is incomplete. So I have stopped the diagram here on. If I get to continue this, that means this region will be Benite. This region is perlite, right? So okay, so and to do that, what I need to do? I need to do cooling curves, right? Cooling curves will be like this. One cooling curve will be here, and the cooling curve will be like this. These are the cooling curves. Okay, so this is one diagram. Then I can draw also TTD. TTD diagram is very easy. This is gamma. Okay, let me tell you one important point. This gamma, few people told this is unstable gamma. Some people call metastable also. Metastable means it will take time to decompose. Unstable means it will suddenly decompose. Right? Technically, you can say this is actually metastable because it is taking some time to decompose. Because you move in this direction, the moment it will touch here, then decomposition will start. Anybody know what is this gap called? Incubation period. Incubation period means in that period transformation will not start. Right? Incubation period. This is okay. This is perlite. This is benite. Okay. So the point is, so this kind of cooling curve will give you what? Which phase? Tell me. 1 and 2. So for this one will give you what kind of microstructure and this one will give you what kind of microstructure. In the gate examination, you will get this kind of question. You should be confident. The hint I can give you is nobody is touching the nose of the CCD or CCD. Martensite, very good. Because they are not touching at all. Because you are forgetting this first C curve is called what? Starts. This is what finish. These two lines are not touching the start curve. So how transformation will start? Gamma will remain as gamma. But gamma is remaining gamma. The moment it will touch here, it will start forming martensite. And when it will touch this line, all the gamma become 100% martensite. Right? But by chance, suppose this line, suppose this is a line, it is going like this. So what kind of phase it will form? Perlite. Very good. Perlite it will form. Because this cooling curve is very slow. Right? This cooling curve is very slow because time is enough. You can see the time. But this time is very low. Fast cooling. Right? This is fast cooling, this is slow cooling. So the moment this is going like this is remaining gamma. But the moment it will touch here, transformation will start. Gamma become perlite. Then gamma perlite. When it will reach here, all rest of the gamma become perlite. So everything will become You know this. Right? Okay, anyways, if the curve will be like this, then what it will form? Tell me.
50% per light.
So what happens? This is gamma, 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 gamma. The moment you touch here, it will start forming perlite. Perlite plus gamma, perlite plus gamma, perlite plus gamma, perlite plus gamma, perlite plus gamma. You will touch the rest gamma will become martensite. So perlite martensite like this. It will end up with perlite martensite. Here actually perlite martensite gamma, perlite martensite gamma. Perlite martensite gamma, but here when it will reach, it will all become perlite and martensite. Fine. You understand? This kind of question will get in gate examination. I am saying many times. The diagram will be given. They will ask what kind of microstructure or what kind of phase you will get. These are the cooling curves. Simple. You just watch the videos. For you people only I have made videos, right? You are not watching any videos, right? All are there in YouTube already. No need to give like or comment. That's fine. But you watch it. That will make you benefit. When you get placed, I will be happy. Anyway, okay, fine. So what I mean to say is, okay, this is one cooling curve. This is another cooling curve. So our important point is, what is the role of alloying element here, right? So if you add alloying elements, very interesting things happen. What happens? The nose. Which one is the nose part? This is the nose, right? If I stand here like this, so my nose is like this, right? So this is the nose only, right? So this part is the nose. So what happens if you add alloying element? This nose will start shifting towards right and right. Okay. Similarly, this one. This is the nose. This part. This will also shift towards right. So you add alloying element into the seat. This nose will shift to the right. So if the nose will shift to the right, so you have enough time to form martensite. Yes or no? Why? Because this cooling curve will not touch. See, this is the initial condition. I am adding alloying element here. What will happen to the curve? It will become like this. Yes or no? Because this has shifted towards right, right? So cooling curve, even if you are cooling at a slow rate, just see, still it is forming martensite. You understand my point? Because that has moved. But initial cooling curve was like this. Initial cooling curve was like this, right? So what will happen? You can see. Without alloying element, the moment it will touch, it will start forming perlite, right? But after adding alloying element, the nose has shifted towards right. So what happens? Even if you are cooling slowly, it will form martensite. Right? So people ask, if you are dealing with an alloy steel and you are cooling slowly, does it form martensite? You say yes. It doesn't mean that always drastic quenching will give you martensite. You have to check the composition of the alloy, whether it is a high carbon steel or low carbon, or whether it is an alloy steel or not alloy steel. You understand the point? Same thing happens. If you add carbon, you easily can form martensite. Sometimes, not always. Anyway, next is, your question will be, I want to discuss this one. The first point I discussed, perlitic transformation, martensitic transformation are opposite. One is diffusion based, one is diffusion less. Second point I discussed, what is hardenability, right? Third point I discussed, that means if a steel is showing high hardenability, what it means? Perlitic transformation is easy or martensitic transformation is easy? Martensitic transformation is easy. And another point is with martensitic transformation, we have so that means if martensitic transformation is happening easily, that means perlitic transformation will suppress. The steel will not allow to form perlite. Just opposite. If perlitic transformation will be easy, martensitic transformation will be suppressed. You should write this point, you will forget it, right? Because both are opposite in nature, you should understand. If perlitic transformation is happening, martensitic transformation will not happen. It will get suppressed. Because perlitic transformation is happening, diffusion is happening. How? If diffusion happens, how martensite will form? Right? Similarly, if martensite transformation is happening, perlitic transformation will suppress. Okay, so obviously you people have a question right now in your mind. If you are adding alloying elements, why this is happening? Why the nose of the curve is moving towards right? You remember two types of stabilizers. Anybody remember?
Straight.
Austenite stabilizers,
Ferrite stabilizers.
Certain alloying element stabilizes the ferrite. Certain alloying element stabilizes the austenite. Right? People ask, can we make a austenite stick? Yes. Can we make an austenite stick? Yes. That means austenite still means what? Room temperature, your steel is having austenite, which is not possible actually, right? Because austenite forms at a high temperature, but still you are having a steel in room atmospheric condition. You are having austenite. How this is possible? Because you have added lot of austenite stabilizer. That's why. You get my point? You understood? You can get questions from this. People will ask like this. Give some example of austenite stabilizer. In gate examination, they are asking. Can you give some example of austenite stabilizer? Nickel, very good. Nickel is one of the most. Anything? Nitrogen, carbon, nickel, manganese. These are austenite stabilizers. Similarly, what are ferrite stabilizer? Example? Silicon, very good. Anything else? Maximum. Chromium, tungsten, vanadium, niobium, titanium, all are ferrite stabilizers. They stabilize the ferrite. Okay, if an alloying element is stabilizing one phase and the phase will be not stabilized, just you should understand, right? Okay, anyway, so this is again a confusion. Why? That means my point is, if you are adding, suppose you are adding more amount of chromium, more amount of vanadium, more amount of niobium. What are these? These are ferrite stabilizers. So these are ferrite stabilizers. That means austenite will be not stable, but still the nose is moving towards right. You are adding ferrite stabilizer, still the nose is moving towards right. It should not move. Why? Because austenite should become unstable. It should suddenly decompose into perlite or anything else, right? But still it is moving towards right. That means still austenite is stable. How? You got my question or not? You are adding ferrite stabilizer, and still you have a more incubation period. How this is possible? You should have a less incubation period, right? Because you are adding ferrite stabilizer. Ferrite should get stable, not austenite. It should unstable the austenite things. But still the nose is moving towards right. If nose is moving towards right means you are getting more incubation period. Austenite is still there for long interval of time. It is not decomposing. How this is possible? Okay, the answer is what exactly you should remember. Basically, ferrite stabilizers form strong carbides. You take chromium form chromium carbides. You take vanadium form very strong carbide, vanadium carbide. You take niobium, it will form niobium carbides. You take titanium, it will form titanium carbides. All are strong carbide former. Why? Because they are attracted towards carbon and they form a compound. And these carbides are what? Precipitates. They will give you precipitation strengthening. No? If you want precipitation strengthening and still you have niobium, vanadium, it will form a carbide, it will give you very high strength. Okay, microalloyed steel, if you remember. Anyways, you understood? So the point is, when you are adding ferrite stabilizer, it will form carbides. But if carbide will remain as carbide, then it will help you in perlite transformation. Listen carefully. If carbide will remain as carbide, it will give you perlite transformation. That means what will happen? Martensite transformation will not happen. But if carbide will be in soluble form, where it will get soluble? In austenite phase. Completely soluble, solid solution. See, suppose vanadium carbide is present. Vanadium carbide will break down into carbon and vanadium. Vanadium will get soluble. It will form what? Substitution solid solution in austenite phase. Carbon will form industrial solid solution. Now it is in solution form. In that condition, it will help you to give you martensite transformation. Now your question will be why? Why if carbide will be there, it will help in perlite transformation. When vanadium carbide is in soluble form, why it will help you in martensite? Obviously, you have a question right now. Can you think of this? Because if carbide will be there, then nucleation will be easy. So perlite can easily nucleate quickly at a small interval of time. That is a nucleating site actually. Yeah, it is a solid now. It is a solid. A new solid want to form. Where it will form? It will form where there is another solid particles. Okay? You understand my point? And once perlite transformation will start, martensite transformation may not happen. Okay? But if it is in soluble form, okay, just suppose it. If vanadium carbide, niobium carbide are there in soluble form, right, in austenite phase, why martensite transformation will happen? That means something is happening. Diffusion is not easy now. You are getting my point? If your carbides are in soluble form, a single oxide is there. Now, it will help you formation of martensite. Why? That means diffusion is not happening. Can you think of it? Why diffusion may not happen? That means atoms cannot move. Why atom is not moving easily? Just think of it. Suppose you have an iron crystal and you are adding some vanadium directly into it. What happens? When vanadium goes, it will sit where? It will sit in the substitutional position. Voids. Void will be occupied by small atom, carbon, nitrogen, boron. Vanadium is a very big atom. It forms substitutional solid solution. No? So what will happen if you put a big size atom now into crystal of iron? What will happen? It will give you strain. The strain field will generate. Now, it is a bigger atom, for example. It will push the iron atom. So if a strain field will generate, diffusion will be difficult. Okay.